Hello, welcome to the 7-set video series of critical issues for purchasers to be aware of in relation to building and pest matters when buying residential properties. My name is Ryan Craig. I'm the owner and consultant for QC's Building Services. I'm a licensed building and timber pest inspector and have been carrying out inspections on residential properties in Brisbane and Greater Brisbane for the last coming up to 20 years now. The reason that these videos have been made by myself is because in that time of dealing with my clients and seeing purchasers, it's become really apparent to me that there's a lack of knowledge on all building and pest issues that people should be aware of, because if you don't know about these issues, it puts you in a situation where you're legally in a potentially liable for incurring the costs, and you might buy an incorrect property, it might be marketed falsely. And basically, if you are aware of these 7 critical issues that I'm telling people about in these videos, you'll be far better educated, empowered, and in a better position during the negotiation and understanding of a purchase in regards to the offer you make and the conditions you should put on the offer. So basically the 7 videos include, number 1, the misleading manner in which properties are marketed. About 50% of properties that we inspect are marketed incorrectly on the internet. Quite astounding, but that's how video number 1 will cover all those issues. Number 2 will be the different service levels between building and pest providers and the types of reports in the industry. It's critical that you're aware of that as well. Number 3 is issues in relation to vendor provided reports, and number 4 is a video about contract issues and what searches you should do as part of your building and pest. Number 5 is this video here. It's time allocation you should get for your building and pest on when the contract is filled out. Number 6 is some information about verbal advice. And number 7 is a video about what we believe every purchaser should do, and that is make a formal request of the current vendor to declare any known issues to them about the property, historic, past, or current, so that at the moment in Queensland there's no need to do that because it's a buyer beware culture and the vendors don't have any legal obligation to disclose anything to you, so we'll cover that in number 7. Okay, so number 5, time allocation for your building and pest issue, why this is important. There is a very big trend based on what we've seen in the last 20 years of doing the inspections for agents at the time the contract is filled out to manipulate that in terms of the allocation of time for the building and pest and put a 7-day clause, which includes your weekends, but you won't be told that generally when you fill out the contract. So in essence, what that means is you have 7 days from the time the contract's signed, including your weekends, to get the building and pest done, receive the building and pest reports, act on all the information, and tell the vendor or agent that you're going to proceed based on the fact that you're comfortable with the information from the inspections. Why is this done by the agent? A deliberate ploy to try and put 7 days in. It suits the vendor. It puts the purchaser under a situation where they have to make a decision under duress and time, and often we see that during dealing with our clients. They're on their last day and they're just not sure what to do and they're stressed, and sometimes, well, quite often we see our clients make decisions not based on the fact they've got the right information and they're comfortable to proceed and they've done all their due diligence, but because they've got no time left on their contract, which is just fatal, really. Not the right reason to proceed. So just remember, when you do the allocation of time for the building and pest, it is done in consideration for you arranging the inspections, receiving the reports, and acting on all information, carrying out searches, and being able to be in a position where you can say that you're comfortable proceed or not comfortable proceed. So that 7 days, in our opinion, is just not enough based on what we've seen. You should try and get a minimum of 14 days on the contract when you sign it for the building and pest allocation. You don't need to use all of that time, 14 days, but it gives you enough time not to be stressed and running out of time, and the ability to make a decision not under pressure from time constraints. Remember, it's your offer when you're filling the contract out. It's not up to the agent to dictate how many days you get for the allocation of the building and pest. You're submitting an offer to the vendor for their consideration, and there should be no problem with it being a minimum of 14 days for any reason, because that's very reasonable in terms of needing the time to do that. So make sure you control that and ask for the 14 days. If there is a push by the agent to suggest that the contract might not be favourable to the vendor, etc., which is quite another common ploy, because you're asking for 14 days building and pest, then at least get 7 working days. You need to stipulate that it's working days, and that will allocate the Sunday and the Saturday are not included in that 7 days. Again, we would stress that it's better to get 14 days, but if you're going to be pushed into getting 7 days, make sure it's working days. Okay, one of the other things that you need to be able to understand when you have time frames for building and pest is if you are running out, you're under contract and you have your building and pest clause and you're on the last day and you've got to make a decision, but you don't have all the information to make that decision, understand that you have another option called getting an extension. And what that means is that you can ask through your conveyancing solicitor to directly communicate with the conveyancing solicitor for the vendor and ask for an extension of time from the allocation of time you were given originally on the contract, because you haven't got enough time or had enough time to make a decision and you're unable to make that decision. And that's a formal request you can make to the vendor for an allocation of time for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, however long you like. The vendor can of course reject that, but it is an option for you to ask for that, and most time it's accepted if people are reasonable and they want to sell their home. So our advice to you would be never ever make a decision based on duress or the fact you haven't had enough time to do your research for a building and pest, because it can be fatal. We've seen so many clients do that, make that decision without the right information and really expose themselves to the risks, because once you go past that building and pest, there's no liability or there's no opportunity for you to have any ability to pull out on the contract on the building and pest if you do find out something in a day or two after you've gone unconditional for the building and pest. So just make sure you understand this, how the critical importance it is to not proceed without being comfortable and in a position where you're fully aware of all of the building and pest issues and you've had enough time to say I'm comfortable to proceed. I hope this video is informative for you, and there is another 6 in the series. Please make sure you look at all of those, because all of the information in these videos are very, very important to purchasers and will significantly reduce the risks of you incurring any cost, buying the wrong property, and will greatly increase your knowledge and put you in a position of power and more control when you make an offer for a property, and not to expose yourself to the current trend, which is very much based towards vendor and agent controlled, and putting purchasers in unfavourable situations under legal contract. Please also visit the website, and there's some more information on our website, www.qcsbuildingservices.com.au, and also our YouTube site, which is just QC's Building Services. Please also tell all your friends about these videos who are buying or purchasing, because it's critical information. So hope to be of some assistance to you in the future if you are looking to buy a property, and we wish you all the best with your house hunting. Thanks for watching.